Hello everybody. It has been quite a while since I've been able to record a video. I had some life things happen that were dire and scary, and they will come up in one of my flip throughs for my cousin, but I will not get too far into it now because we have a comparison to do. I'm going to let you know right away that I did not get a 2025 original Hobonichi. I did get an avec for the cousin, mostly because this is getting awfully thick, and in the later months I decided I wanted to start adding some ephemera, and I know that this would be probably unwieldy if I continue to use a cousin in the same manner that I have recently begun using it. So I'm excited about that. You can see from my Hobonichi unboxing and haul video everything that I got there. I'm a little winded every time I set up the table and I'm all ready to finally do it. It's like it's been quiet. I'm busy. My feet are ruffling, shuffling around, and then all of a sudden I have to talk. So it's kind of funny. Anyway, welcome to Sure By Dabbles. I am your host, Sure By, and here we are going to compare the A6 Kinbor with the Hobonichi Techo Original A6, of course. Let's see what we find out. So my Hobonichi Techo, I originally got it. It's the first one I've ever had, and I got it because I am a songwriter, and I thought if I used that nice little space, I mean, it's only the length of my palm, to write lyrics every day, it would really help me in songwriting, and it did actually help me a lot. As things happen, though, something happened. I don't know what. I can't say what it was. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I kind of fell off the wagon after a couple of months. So lately, I have been using my A6 as a brain dump. So I keep it by my bedside. And this section here, all the blank pages I have to fill. I'll go to the current day. So it is now November 10th. I'll go to this day and I'll just brain dump. And if I have to use any extra pages, I go to these blank ones here. I write what the date is at the top and I fill it in until it's done. I really love having a brain dump book. I think it really helps me to fall asleep better at night. I don't get involved. I don't call it journaling. Anything that makes me anxious, I write that this is making me anxious, but I try not to delve into it because it helps me to sleep. That's neither here nor there for this comparison, but you know, welcome to my channel where I talk a lot. So this is what I currently use the A6 for. I went to AliExpress after reading about some alternatives, and you can see my video of the weeklies from Kinbor with the Hobonichi weeks. And I was really surprised at the quality. I was really impressed with the quality. So I immediately went in and I bought these two. One is for a friend. I also bought an A5 that I will reveal because I was looking for a work alternative notebook. So eventually I'll be showing that. One other thing I'll be showing shortly too is, oh my gosh, let me get it. Let me preserve my privacy. This whole box of Happy Planner. So we have a lot to cover, but today we're going to do this. Let me unbox these. I did not write down the price. I believe this one was like, maybe it was $13, and this one was definitely $10. This is the one that I plan to give to my friend. I am kind of upset that I had already determined that because the cover, I did take it out of the packaging. The cover feels really, really good. So when you order from AliExpress, the Kinbor, first of all, the shipping does take a while, but not as long as I had expected. This came in a week from the date I ordered it. And the Kinbors come with this 2025 calendar. It's a full pullout. Now, first it shows you suggested ways of using their planners. It's the same for each. So you just kind of find the spread that you want to reference, and it gives you, now, obviously it's not in English, but you can get a basic idea. I like just looking at layouts. The other side is an entire calendar for 2025. So you can give that to your fun friends, especially if they like anything that, you know, is Chinese or from like a manga cartoony, what is it called? Kawaii type of thing. I'm probably saying them all wrong, but it's really cool art. Basically, if they like cool art, there you go. This feels awesome. I do want to point out, when I do my comparisons, I typically am focusing more on the other thing. Hobonichi is like the foundation mainstay. I pretty much assume you know a lot about the Hobonichi. I do, however, do direct comparisons to it, but I'm being more critical of what I'm comparing to the Hobonichi, if that makes sense. And I do that for a number of reasons. I think there are just a lot of Hobonichi videos out there, and I have already used Hobonichi. This, I'm really trying to go with my discerning eye. I know I like this. How is this going to convince me to like it more, basically, is what I'm going for. You see I have my tea here. Let's see if I actually take a sip. I want to because I feel terribly thirsty. I have been using a mouth tape. I had to be in the hospital with my son for a week, and I knew I was going to be snoring immensely. So I thought about buying some hostage tape, you know, to save my partner, you know, his own sanity. And then I learned that micropore tape, like surgical tape from hospitals, is basically the same thing. So I went out and got some, and I have been wearing it on my lips, but I think I'm biting my tongue. So now I feel just thirsty all the time. This is a supplement notebook I do keep in the back of my A6 for those brain dumps. I was going to just go to these, but they're so thin, it's almost pointless. Later, I'll show you some week size planners that I purchased that I might use instead and revert back to lyrics in the A6, but I do really love that process. Anyway, let me get going with this. So I got the two. They both come in this packaging. We're going to compare the covers first. Now, Hobonichi has a very stiff kind of cardboard-like cover. A lot of people put this in a clear plastic case. I keep mine in a clear plastic case. I took it off for this video so that we could avoid some glare. Mine was about this same thickness. Now, I do put some stickers in it and just flipping each page. This is what it looks like now. We'll go through every page. These, the biggest difference with the Hobonichi is they come with bookmarks. You get two bookmarks of different colors with the Kinbor. So this is a dark brown and a lighter brown. It's more like caramel. And the black has a gold and a black bookmark. Already a really great difference, right? At the front cover in the same spot here is their brand. So here's Kinbor and Hobonichi. We have another gold foil symbol here that's inside the coffee mug and some foiling in the donut and in the pretzel. Really great, cute touches. Breading, so you can see the pattern. It's so adorable. It feels really, really great. It feels luxe, you know. On the back side, Kinbor, keep imaginative and be on road. I love that. And the back of the Hobonichi is plain. I just have my Jerry Garcia sticker on there. The regular black, this again was only probably $3 cheaper. This one is one I would be more likely to put in a case, but it does feel very sturdy. It's not gonna go anywhere. This might be the one that I do the biggest comparisons with because I believe that this is going to be exactly the same inside. They don't decorate with this theme in mind throughout the planner. At least I don't believe they do, but we'll double check. Let's check out the spines. The Kinbors tell you what year it is. So if you like to collect your planners and put them on a shelf, this is a really nice touch so you can immediately know which year is which, where you will have to label your own on the Hobonichi Techo. And of course, the Techo does not have any bookmarks at all in it. So let's go into page one. I just want to really stress and emphasize again how nice this feels. We'll try to do some comparisons with that as we keep going. So let's just flip open to the first page. Blank plain and papers here inside your cover. On the Kinbor, very, very stiff cover. I mean, it is very thick but flexible and pliable, which is really nice. And then you have this iridescent, really pretty paper. It looks fibrous, so you can kind of see fibers throughout it. It's pearl, like pearl. It's really pretty. I mean, it's like a cool, you know, like if you're Gen Xer like me in high school, you wore the white pearl nail polish. That's what it's like. It almost has like a gold tinge. I guess that would be dependent upon what light you have it up against. It's pretty. I like it. We're going to turn the page and keep it moving. So the other side of that end paper loses its pearlescent quality. and you just have the front cover, Hobonichi 2024 Original and 2025 Techo. Techo, I thought it was the Japanese word for planner, but Kinbor is Chinese, so maybe it's the same, but that's an interesting thing I hadn't noticed before. So that's pretty cool. Then you open up to your big year at a glance calendars. The Hobonichi shows the current year, previous year, and next year. When you flip the page in the Kinbor, I want to make sure I don't skip any pages. You do have the previous year, the next year. Obviously, it's on the opposite page, and the full year is facing on the right, whereas the full year in the Hobonichi is on the left. Paper, just to feel, it feels very similar, and I do believe it's the same. This has been a back and forth that I have seen a lot, and what I now feel very confident in saying is that the Kinbor paper is 52 GSM, and they call it Bachuan paper, and I do not know how to pronounce that properly. It is B-A-C-H-U-A-N, Bachuan, and from what I understand, that is how you say Tomoe River in Chinese. So I think that they are the same paper. Now, given a lot of the hubbub that's come up about the Hobonichi paper in the 2025 planners, we now know that the paper is made at different production facilities, which makes sense anyway, because I don't know how one company or production facility could keep up with the amount of Tomoe River paper out there in the world and us crazy planner people just wanting to hoard it. I am going to make a wild guess and say that the Japanese Hobonichi Techos are not made in China, and that China would have its own production facilities for the 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I am absolutely making an assumption here. It feels like a smart assumption. It feels like a logical assumption, but take that as you will, and do your own research. And if you find something that can really pinpoint it, I would love to know in the comments. I just, the more facts we have, the better. The difference in these calendars, let's find out. In the Hobonichi, they are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are your years. However, in the Kinbor, they write out the month. So if you're just averse to the numerics of our months, you also have it written in English. Now, if we compare, the Kinbor starts on a, oh, see, I have it in Japanese. That does make it like complicated for me to be accurate. So I'm just going to skip ahead real quick to January and make sure. Yes. So even though the, oh, okay. So the Japanese is a Sunday start and the Kinbor is a Monday start. So if you see in 2024, it starts Monday on the 1st, whereas here the whole calendar starts on the Sunday of the previous December 31st. I'm not sure if the English version is different in this regard. This is definitely a Sunday start, and this is a Monday start. Let me open my little box of goodies here, because you'll see that I have my planner tests. I did compare the planner tests with the Sterling ink, and these are the weeklies, the Kinbor weekly and the Hobonichi weekly. Is my, oh, my cousin's not even in here. I just showed you all of that for nothing. Okay, Monday start in the monthly. What about their year at a glance? Let's just take a, okay, so June, when's it start? June 1st starts on a Sunday. Let's look at our big calendar here. June 1st, Sunday. Wait, is it Sunday? I already lost it. I already lost it, you guys. I'm going to need another date for reference. October 1st on a Wednesday. October 1st. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So these are a Monday start. Okay, so I guess that's not a universal truth. Here we are. Here we are. So this calendar starts on a Monday. For whatever reason, these at a glances start on a Sunday. I don't know why they did that. That's fascinating. Now we know. So they don't show you the number of week at all. That is the comparisons for the calendars. They do have down here a list of what I believe are to be holidays or dates of memory, things that stand out that may be celebrated, perhaps in China. Those are just absolute guesses. I obviously cannot read it to know. I will say that just at a glance, the calendar in the Kinbor is easier to read because it's bigger. However, it is a lighter colored font. The Hobonichi is a nice dark colored font. And the paper colors are both white, which is interesting. Like the weeklies, in the weeks, it is a cream color in the Hobonichi, but it is definitely white here. Again, I can't tell you if it's different in English. I'm assuming it is the same. So when we flip the page in the Kinbor, we come to this yearly, I still call this a yearly index. I'm unsure if everybody calls it that. Same spread as in 2 months for each page, but they alternate colors at the top. It is outlined in gray, a dark gray and a light gray in the top in the Kinbor, whereas in the Hobonichi it's just all white. You do get the numerical number for the months as well as the English name of the month written out. You do have the days of the week here. It looks like your Sundays are in red in the Kinbor, whereas your entire weekend is highlighted here. Your Saturdays are a much lighter gray, but the square itself is not a lighter gray. Do you see that? So we have 8, 9, 10 in a darker font. 11 is a light gray. 12 is a red. Those are your weekends. Here they highlight the whole box. I think I prefer the highlighting of the whole box, although for people who like minimalism, where they don't want the planner to really mess with their color schemes and give them a color that they cannot change on their own, this is a good option for trying to keep your own color schemes. So hopefully that's helpful. And size-wise, they look identical. So same width. And let's see for square height. They look identical. Now, they're not. The squares themselves look exactly the same, but notice the space differences. So maybe they're not all the same because, yes. So the Kinbor squares are slightly smaller to create this offset, which is why you can have the same amount of squares on one page, but a bigger writing space at the top. In fact, this yearly index is about the same size as that in the cousin. So in the cousin, for instance, get to this yearly index of the, oh brother. So you see here in the cousin, you have more writing space than you do in the original Techo. But even in the A6 size of the Kinbor, you have more writing space than you do in the cousin. That's pretty cool. I mean, you have it at the bottom of the cousin, you know, also underneath, they offer you a bunch of extra writing space. See down here, it's pretty big, but still, I think that is a boon to the Kinbor versions because it's the hard part about this little tiny space is how much can I actually fit. The way they have designed their layout, you can fit quite a lot. I find that preferable. I really like having this bigger space up here and it's little down here because there are so many people who want to use this for everything, and this allows you to. So we'll go through the pages here. Definitely starts at January and ends at December. In the 2024 Techo, you went to December. So it started actually the December before. This is why you have different pages. You got a whole other month here, and then you go through the year, and you still have 3 more months at the end. So you have 4 extra months, 1 prior, 3 after. Whereas the Kinbor is just, we're here for 2025. You don't get anything else. You just get the year. I respect that, honestly. This makes me feel like I'm wasting space. However, I can use those for other things, like a separate list that I want to have in my book. The months, I use this for gratitude. So let me go to a blank month so we can compare properly. This is great for my brain dump. You know, I go to this section and then I fill in my gratitude and then I do my brain dump. It's really nice. So the next page after the yearly index is your monthlies. Let's take a look. Right away, you can notice that the month is blocked out in a nice big square. This is January, written nice layout, easy to see, right on the eye. This text isn't getting, you know, smushed in with the rest. What I like about Kinbor also is they show the previous and next month. So if you're doing any planning in there, you can see that right away. What else do we have here? How wide is this? About the same width, same width. What about the height for each month? So it looks like the Hobonichi is the same height. So it's also the same height, same width. Again, the font is a lot darker in the Hobonichi, and they do highlight the Sundays and Saturdays with these bars. Kinbor does as well on a lighter scale. Here you go. So you can see it's much more pink than the Hobonichi, and the gray is a much lighter gray. They are all gridded, and this is the first instance we see of the weeks being labeled. So in the Hobonichi here, we have the end of the year for December at week 49. And here we go. Look, here's the 2025s to line up. So this is what I like to do with these planners, is to see how they break off the months that have blank spaces. The Kinbor, which they did in the weeks, they fill in the spaces with either the calendars or they leave it blank. But now it's gridded, so I don't want you to think that I mean it's a blank page. It's gridded, but they don't add any extra lines or boxes here. Whereas Hobonichi does a square. They do a full square, and you have those days of the month filled in for you here. Now, this is a Sunday start. In the Hobonichi, this is a Monday start, so you have the two blank boxes over here. That's why it looks different, while this has one that you wouldn't be using. At the end of the day, even though the boxes are the same, how does that work? We only have 4 boxes here in the Hobonichi, 4 rows, but in the Kinbor we have 5. So the space that it takes to write Friday and the day of the week is slightly larger than the space that Kinbor uses. See, it's just like basically the equivalent of 2 rows, whereas in the Hobonichi it's the equivalent of 4. So that gives you more blank space around which you can write or decorate. Excellent, we found that. So let's go through the months. And again, we'll see if there's anything else that stands out. The Hobonichi looks like they put some holidays in. It looks like the Kinbor adds holidays as well. It's very minimal. You really don't see it much. There is that color change of the pink and the gray. The Hobonichi is a little bit more intrusive, depending on what your style is. The gray box may be intrusive for some people. And March is a great month to look at because it takes up a sixth row. So you get really tiny boxes at the bottom here. This is 2025, by the way, so we're comparing month to month. Whereas in this one, it is a little bit more space, simply because what they decided to use up here is so much more truncated than this. So you actually end up having more space in the days, or in the days in the months that have 6 rows on the calendar. So keep that in mind too. If you really like your boxes to have space or have more space around the months, and I would say for decorators, for big note takers, Kinbor to me wins in that space. So check out April. Look at how much space you have there. It's really kind of neat how random it is. Unfortunately, there is no April in the Hobonichi. So let's see, after we get to the end of the year, how far it goes. Obviously, you saw this goes up to March in the monthlies. The Kinbor, here's December. That's it. And then it switches over to this very interesting grid, which is also in the weeklies. It is each month written out, and I believe, at least in the weeklies, it was 11 by 11. Was it 11 by 11 or 8 by 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it's 81. So 81 boxes. Is 9 by 9 81? I think so. I'm not thinking right now. I'm doing this, okay? Don't bother me with math. So this is Plan of a New Year, and this is Turning the Page to a New Year. This is really a neat page. So this just shows you the months. I don't know which month. I'm guessing, oh, that's 2023 and 2021. So this is December and January, which is fascinating, I guess, to plan out your whole next year. This is really cool because you can actually break it down by months and then have bigger goals and plans up here. You could also use this for specific types of tracking. I have mentioned in my weekly, you could use it as a nookie tracker. You can use it as a cycle tracker. You know, maybe some notes about each period can go here, something like that. You can use it for birthdays. You can use it for major cleaning things you want to do that month, an adulting log of some kind, big bills that you have to pay or bills you pay every month and you just check it off. You know, that could be a really good section for that. I think that's actually a great spread and page. You do have it blank in the Hobonichi, so you are free to just do it however you'd like to do it. Now when we go to the monthlies in the Hobonichi, you get one blank page, and I'll go forward to the blank pages so you can see, and then you have the first day of the year where you have check boxes up at the top and a timeline that runs down the left side of the page here with a quote at the bottom. Now, I think in the Kinbor, it automatically kind of wins for space. Let me go to a blank one now that you saw January. And I'll go to the beginning of a month as well. So, everywhere else, Kinbor has written out the name of the month, except on this page, and Hobonichi has written it out there. The font in Hobonichi is not bolded, whereas Kinbor is bold, and it is a nice big, numeric indicator for the month. Again, the quote is at the bottom. Kinbor does not have the quote. This is a blank page, no lines of any kind, no grid, with shading down the side. Each month has a line like this that coincides with the number or the color indicating the month on the right side of the page. And it's different for each month. So there's purple, there's green, there's blue, and some people hate that. So, another like brown, purple, a pink, a lighter green, like a lime, an olive green. The Kinbor is just one color. It's gray. That's it. So you have your gray, your red, pinkish. It's not, I want to say red. It looks more kind of dark pink to me, but that's what it is. Also in the Kinbor, it has a dot grid, not a dot grid, a dot line. So the line is made up of a bunch of little dots. We'll see if I can show you that. I don't love the lines. I prefer blank, but I see the appeal of lines for a lot of people if you were keeping a list, for instance. On the opposite side of the page here, no moon phases. This has a moon phase. This does not. So the Kinbor does not. It does highlight what number week it is in the year. That's a little harder to see here. This could be, I don't know what these characters are, but for English speakers, if you don't read Chinese, there is no indicator for the number week it is in the year. In this one there is. In the cousin and the Avex for Hobonichi, there is. But in this Hobonichi, there is not. It does tell you 336 what day of the year it is. It's the 336th day. I like that for 365 grids. That's at the back of the cousin. It looks like this. Let's see. So this is a 365-day grid. I use this to track workouts, and the day page coincides with it. So, each time you go to a daily page, it'll tell you what it is. 336 for December 1st is down here. No workouts because, like I said, a hospital and life, etc. That's really cool. The funny thing is, this does not have the 365 grid at the back. So that's really neat that they have it in here, but also kind of pointless without the grid to me. Timeline checkboxes. In the Kinbor, it does have a timeline. Starts at 7. There's like a little sun right here. It's a little tiny little sunrise icon right there. And then down here, there's like a full day icon and then a sunset icon right there. So like sunrise, middle of the day, sunset. Let's get back to January 1st here. No such icons, just dots. And it goes from 6 a.m. until 3 a.m. This one is 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's on a 25-hour, but it does have additional dots that looks like it goes to half hours. So each dot is a half hour. I guess that would mean 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So it goes to 7:30 with those dots if you use those. At the top, we have 1 Jan. It says Jan, so it doesn't spell out the whole month. The first of that month, Wednesday, week 1, and it does have a tab indicating which month it is, plus 1 calendar down below. Here we have the calendar down below. We have a quote. We have the indicator for the month. And we do have 5 checks boxes on these top lines. Note that the grid is the same color as the tab in the Hobonichi. They also have a darker line to sort of separate it into 2 sections if you wanted to do that. The Kinbor has a very subtle darker line, but it really truly is very subtle. and it's the same dark gray as I would say this box is, maybe a little lighter. The text is more like the box, and then the actual grid is a little lighter. It is a dot grid, so each grid is made up of tiny dots, not straight up lines. I think that's what helps it look a little bit more neutral in the background when you're writing. So let's go through these pages. Looks like Sundays are red and Saturdays are the same as every other day. So, oh, it looks like holidays. I ran into this in the weeklies as well, that these must represent some sort of holiday and they'll be red in the book. So you might expect Sundays to all be red, but then you'll randomly come across a day where it's another day that is definitely not a Sunday. So if you go through, they're all the same. Let's just check February 1st and confirm, yes, each month page does have the lined grid. Let me compare in this one and see if that happens. Oh, the inside page is so adorable. And it's nice and brown. Maybe I should have gone through a flip through of this one as well. Cat's Cafe, lovely foiling there. This paper feels just really great. Really great. Like, it almost feels like there's plastic in that paper. Ooh, it's so nice. I can't believe I'm giving this away. I love my friends. I want to make them happy. So nothing else different in there. Let's go to the first day of the month. Yes, it has the lined. So same format all throughout. So the only thing different, I think, with these special cover ones is the end papers and the design at the front. So I think, and the bookmarks, of course. I'll compare these actual note pages just to make sure, and all of these special add-ons at the end, and see if they're the same when we get to that point. So these typically just have the days, and that's it. So we'll go, there are your bookmarks. We'll go all the way to the end of the year. We get to December 31st, which is where that ends. This one ends. Let's check the Hobonichi. Also ends right on December 31st, and then I used it for some things. Then we get into note pages. It's immediately numbered with number 1. The Hobonichi does not number their end extra pages at the end, so no numbers in Hobonichi. Let's see how many they have in the Kinbor. 17 blank pages with a nice grid, corner to corner, light colored all throughout. Phil's watching football. Did you hear that? I swear it's football. It better be football. So when we get to the Hobonichi Techo, how many pages does this have? If we were to number them, so 14 blank pages and 17 in the Kinbor. Then we come to a page that looks very similar. It's like a schedule or timetable. They call it timetable. They call it schedule. This is where you might want to put what your routine is. Maybe you're a student and every day you have the same sort of schedule. Maybe you have to stick to taking medications and you have to put like specific times to take them. This goes from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. And this looks like it's breaking up kind of like periods, you know, like period 1, period 2, period 3, like if you're at school and you're a student, starts on a Sunday, ends on a Saturday. I was going to do little Zentangles in mine, but I decided not to. So there's that. This page is a gift list. Time to/receive name gift. I don't know why what this to receive is. Maybe it's, you know, in case you mailed it. You know, when did you mail it? When did they get it? Who it is in the gift. So it's a gift list, not a gift ideas. Turning the page, graph paper with some built-in like axes where you could, you know, draw your own graph. I was using mine in the Cousin to try to track my subscribers, but that was kind of slow going. In the Hobonichi, the graph is much smaller than it is throughout. Let me see if we can compare that. Yeah, just so tiny. And we have a 21-day plan in the Kinbor. This was also in the weeks that I had looked at before. And I think the idea is that it takes 21 days to build a habit. Day 21 is here. You kind of do a countdown. And then here's a box where you might want to maybe say what your goal is, maybe some notes about how you were doing. It does have a separate line down here on the edge, so you could track things. So say you wanted a 21-day face routine and you're tracking like different face creams or peels or something. I see a lot of people do stuff like that. I would probably do something like a morning routine where I do like my New York Times puzzles, then I do my Duolingo, then I do my morning pages for writing, then I do want to, but I don't do like a 5-minute stretch, and then maybe my workout, you know, like have a routine for every day and do it for 21 days straight, that sort of a thing. That's pretty cool. I like that, to build a habit, or just to every 21 days I'm going to do this plan, you know, and you would have to track it differently, but that'd be cool. And then you take like a 9-day break and then you do the 21 days all over again. That's kind of a neat idea. So many things that people can do in your books if you want to. This is called Favorites. This is also called Favorites. Up in the Hobonichi, they have a rating system: film, book, music, restaurant. There's a lock. I'm not sure what the lock means. And then there's applause and a little box to write the date. Here is just one bullet, and each bullet has basically 2 rows of grid next to it that you could write in. I think that this is very equal to, so let's see, we have 2 pages of favorites here, equal to the My 100 in the Hobonichi. So My 100 is where I track in my cousin all of the movies and TV shows that I've watched all the way through and all the books that I've read. It's one of my favorite things in my cousin. And I put like little icons for the books I read, stars for the things I really liked. And this is really cool. It's my 100. It's a little bit smaller in here. Actually, it's not that much smaller, honestly. I think that that's the equivalent in the Kinbor, that it's something very similar to that, but you could use it for anything that you want, of course. The difference being the Hobonichi is numbered, this one is not. So you have the liberty to number it yourself, or even put a little key in here. Like I would put B for book, A for audiobook, M for movie, and S for show, something like that. Turning the page, ooh, you get 2 pages of that in the Kinbor. That is fabulous, making me think even more that it's a 100 list. Then you open it up. Here, this is typically interview questions. In my cousin, again, I'm going to show you, we have a page like this, and it says an interview with myself. I only filled in one thing, an interview with myself, and you can see the shapes of the boxes very similar. Oh, well, that's the Hobonichi, so it is the same. So in the Hobonichi, it's an interview with myself, and it's like one thing I'm determined to do in 2024 is probably the same question, because I see 2024 written there. The Kinbor does not have anything like that. It just goes right into some eye exercises and like gua sha tips and tricks. The Hobonichi has a place for desserts. I think this gives you information about different kinds of desserts. The Kinbor has this really cool chart that gives you paper sizes and comparing the different sizes with each other and the measurements for them, which I think is awesome, you know, being for planner people. I'm unsure what this section is for. This section looks like it's measurements that you would use for clothing and shoes. I find that helpful. They have like definitely centimeters, and then they have like 2XS, XS small, medium, large, etc. Then they have a map of China. I'm not sure what all of these mean, but I'd imagine that this is like a travel log, like things that you had visited that you could write in there. And a map of the world, always super helpful. Again, you could probably have a key and mark where you went and maybe, you know, notate what page you wrote about it, something like that. Not sure what this is. It does say gourmet recommended, so this might be some recipes or, you know, good foods. Here are different plants and trees. It says the 24-hour solar terms. And then the last page is your personal information, some Kinbor information, a nice little ruler that goes by centimeters, and then the Techo stamp for Kinbor, life document. It's in gold foil with that really good sturdy paper with another pearlescent end paper. It's really pretty. I really like it. At the end of the Hobonichi, you just have more of, like, I think this is like some safety things that you could do. Just take care of yourself and your eyes. This might be an eye test thing. I'm not sure what that is. I'm only thinking it's an eye test because of this down here. And here we have something that looks very similar to the Kinbor, where there's like plant life and also animals. Looks like maybe things related to the sea. No idea. This might be a personal information page. This has some sort of measurements. This looks a little bit more like mathematical things. No, I was going to try to recognize some sort of formula. Oh, yes. Here we are. Meters, inches, feet, yards, miles. Meters squared, square feet, square miles. So yeah, more distance stuff here and weight here. So grams, ounces, pounds. Then I believe that this is information about the Hobonichi store and community. Here's your gifts page in Hobonichi. Here is, it looks like it's related to birth year. So it might be like your something to, I'm not going to guess. I'm honestly just not going to guess. Maybe how old you are if you were born in this year. That's a real quick way to do it. Let's see, I was born in 77. I am 47 years old. I don't know what the 52 means. Oh, maybe it's related to your Chinese zodiac. If you were born in 77, then the 52nd week, something about maybe the moon. I'm making total wild stabs. Addresses for 6 people, in case you didn't, know. And then personal notes, so if anybody ever finds it, they can return it to you if they are ever so kind. Stuff about Hobonichi, and then the Hobonichi stamp, letting me know that I am the 1,153,591st. That's probably the most terrible way to say that number. Purchaser of this book for this year. That is the Hobonichi Techo Original. And let me just pull out this other one and see. I'm pretty sure all of the back pages are the same. This also has 17 blank pages. It looks like the 21 days, the favorites, eye massages, measurements, map and map. Yes, they're all the same in the end pages. So these are your Kinbor A6s. What do you think? I think that they are lovely. I think that this was about $36. These are less than half the price. They did have other patterns. I believe I had already shown you the weekly. They had an A6 in that same pattern. So this weekly is a Kinbor. It's a nice, harder, stiff cover. This was available in the same cover. It was, I think, $15 on AliExpress. This one was about $13 and like 17-ish cents. And this one was like $10.76 from AliExpress. And again, it only took me 6 days to get them delivered to me. I did not take a sip of my tea. Way to go, way to go. I'm going to do that now. Please hold. Yep, that's some nice stuff. I think that these are a stellar deal. I do really like Hobonichi. I'm really glad that I used Hobonichi this year. I am most definitely using Hobonichi again next year for my cousin. I have a Hobonichi Weeks that I'm using next year. I'm absolutely stoked and thrilled to be starting my Hobonichi gift set 5-year, in which I will be doing things every night, with my brain dump in this. And I'm thrilled to have this. I'm just like, I love Hobonichi. I think that they make beautiful things. I love that they use a community of artists when they are making new products. However, they are ridiculously expensive, and that is not always going to work for us. So I definitely have my couple things that I really wanted to splurge on and have, but I'm very thankful that I also discovered Kinbor, because these are great quality. They are very inexpensive. They're adorably cute, and I see no reason why, there are definitely slight differences that you may prefer. One, of course, is you can't just go out there and buy an English version. The version is what it is. This is what you get. You don't get to choose, I want an all English version. If you're okay with that, then I see no reason why, if you just want to experiment with planners, you won't feel as bad if it doesn't work out. You're not going to feel like, oh my God, I spent like $40 on this and now I'm not using it. it's okay. You can do something similar, by the way, that I am doing with this cousin, where I'm not cousin, this Techo. I have used this for writing lyrics. I do my gratitude. I go back and fill it in again. And then I decided I'm going to do brain dumps in it. I'm going to do sketching in it. Sometimes I do painting in it. I have not tested paint on this paper, but given all the feedback I have heard that it is, in fact, Tomoe River paper, I'm not worried about it. I did do a pen test in one of these, and the paper is the same. So here's Tombow, here's a Bic highlighter, a Sharpie, Hobonichi, my Hobonichi Jetstream pen, and a Micron pen, and then a gel ink pen. The Sharpie actually dried really fast on this paper. I was very surprised. Not Sharpie marker, sorry, that's a Sharpie gel pen. And when you turn the page for any kind of ghosting, the gel pen definitely did that, which I was not surprised, to be quite honest. The Bic, where I ended my line, it showed through. Everything else just looks like standard ghosting to me. I do not use fountain pens. I used to. I used fountain pens a lot in junior high and high school. I got a Mont Blanc pen as a graduation gift. I was so into them. And back then, 25 years ago, that was enormous. And then I had a Lamy pen. And eventually I just was frustrated. I'm left-handed and I don't think people were really getting it. And it was expensive. And so I do not use fountain pens anymore. Maybe later when life feels more calm and I have more space and I can keep a beautiful collection, I will do that. Anyway, my Sherbians, I am very glad you came by to check out this comparison. I hope it was helpful. I hope it will help you make a decision. And I am going to encourage you now to subscribe to my channel. See what else I have coming around the bend. I have a huge Happy Planner unboxing I'm going to be doing. If you're interested in those, then check it out on my channel. I will be doing an August, a September, and an October flip through in my cousin shortly. And I still have this Kinbor to go through. I got this one as an option for work. I've never seen a grid like this. It's called an 8 grid. I don't think I'm going to use it for work, but I do think I might use it for like a photo a day. It's going to get huge if I decide to do that. I just think it's really great. My partner just got a new job. I might convince him to use something like this for his work. This is an A5 size. It has a lot of notes pages at the back. It has, I'm just going to throw this in here real quick, I guess, won't I? It has 64 blank pages, nice small grid. Nice week at a glance, all on one page with more space. It's not as skinny, you know, as the vertical weeklies that you see out there. I also have a B6 paper test that I am going to be unboxing that I hope to use for my writing in 2025. That's what I have for you today. Excuse me. That's what I have for you today. I hope that it was helpful. I would love to know if you have anything additional to add. I cannot stress enough how good this feels. This also feels good and like professional and sturdy, and like it looks pretty slick to just hold, you know. I'm excited for 2025. I want to start using all these notebooks, but I'm also really loving watching these get good and fat and juicy. And I hope you get good and fat and juicy and feel great too, just like these planners. That's all I have for you, everybody. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for checking me out. Come back, subscribe, leave comments. It tickles my fancy bone. And that's it. Peace out, home skillets.